Am I A. hole for getting a paternity test on my son who doesn't look like me? Trigger warning. Racism, minimizing. I'm a 29-year-old white guy. My wife is 30 and black. We have 2 kids, a 3-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. My wife got pregnant with our son early in our relationship. We had only been together a year. We got married because she got pregnant. Fortunately for us, we are actually happy. When my son was born, I accepted him as mine. However, I couldn't help noticing how little he looked like me. He is noticeably darker than my wife. He doesn't look half white. My family and friends have asked if I'm sure he's mine. I had doubts, but I initially decided to trust my wife. I loved my son regardless. When our son was 2, my wife had our daughter. I had no doubt she's mine. She looks just like me, she even has my blue eyes. I never realized how powerful it is to know a child is yours. I bonded with her easier because there wasn't the question of paternity dangling over our heads. My family bonded with her faster too. Her resemblance to me convinced me that my son is not mine. I tried to always treat them equally as I see them both as my children. But I realized I was beginning to resent my son. It felt unfair that I had to care for someone else's child. I also began to resent my wife because I felt she had betrayed me. I finally got a paternity test in secret. I was relieved to learn that my son is in fact mine. Genetics are weird. Anyways, that was 4 months ago and my relationship with my wife and son improved dramatically. I feel much closer to him now that I know he's mine. My wife and I have been so happy that we were talking about a 3rd child. I confessed to my wife I got a paternity test. I hated keeping the secret and I thought she would understand given how much he doesn't look like me. She flipped out. She asked me if I ever doubted our daughter, and when I said no, she called me racist. It's not true. I didn't prefer my daughter because of her whiter features, I just knew she was mine. She also said that I made our son feel unloved for no reason for all those years. I said that's bull. Even when I didn't believe my son was mine, I treated him as though he were. My wife says she wants to move out and take our children after the quarantine. It's been about a week and a half and I'm still on the sofa. I hoped she would have calmed down by now, but things haven't changed. She's just so furious with me for not trusting her and for, in her eyes, denying my son because he's dark. She barely talks to me unless it's about the kids. I don't want to lose my family. Here's where I turn to you, Reddit. Is it so awful that I had doubts? I still took care of him. I don't understand why something like this is wrecking my marriage. I think she is overreacting. So, AITA. Comments. Commenter 1. You married a black woman and for some reason got confused one of your children ended up black. Please take a HS level biology course, something. YTA. Commenter 2. YTA. Yeah, your marriage is over. You neglected your son for years because you couldn't be bothered to do some research on genetics and just assumed your mixed-race kids would automatically look like the stereotype in your head. It was racist and paranoid and also led you to be a bad father. Why would she still want to be married to you? Commenter 3. YTA. You let yourself fester quietly for 5 years and, whether you realize it or not, likely hurt your wife and son in the process, then got the paternity test done in secret after your daughter came out looking like every Hollywood mixed baby. Whether you did it knowingly or not, the idea that the lighter-colored child was not only yours but proof that your darker-skinned son is someone else's kid is rooted in racist ideology. YTA for so far refusing to do the introspection necessary to figure this one out. You're also TA for the way you're dismissing your wife's response to what you've done and why. First, instead of being open and honest about your concern from the beginning, with more than light comments about the boy's skin color, you kept quiet and essentially punished both your wife and your son with what sounds like a much chillier attitude than the one your daughter got. Second, you got the paternity test done in secret, and only went to your wife after you had made certain whether or not the boy is in fact yours. Instead of giving her the chance to prove herself to you, you waited until you could confront or present her with the truth. That's a coward's solution. Third, having already received those results and being relieved to have been wrong about your son, you seem to have expected your wife to immediately share in your joy and have absolutely no upset whatsoever. That isn't fair to her. She's her own human being, and she's just discovered the guy she chose to sleep with, have children with, and Mary hasn't trusted her at all these last 5 years. She has every right to be hurt, and to express that hurt in whatever way she needs to, even if that includes leaving you behind. Fourth, there are a lot of racist stereotypes involving interracial couples. The darker-skinned baby being born to white parents joke is only one of them. Most if not all of those stereotypes center in on the extremely racist idea that black people are sexually promiscuous, disloyal, and only ever seek to take advantage of white people. It is extremely likely that your wife has been on the receiving end of a lot of comments rooted in those stereotypes, probably a lot more than you will ever know. And now, you've just proven to her that she has no ally in you. You tested your son because he was so much darker than your daughter. You let yourself doubt your wife's loyalty to you for 5 years rather than trying to have an actual, serious conversation with her. The man she chose is no better than anyone else who has ever had a hurtful thing to say about your relationship. Do you have any idea the amount of pain and betrayal she has to be feeling right now? How dare you? Truly, honestly, how dare you? How dare you do this and expect her to be okay? How dare you do this and come running to a sea of strangers to validate you when it rightfully blows up in your face? You need to do a good deal of soul-searching and find a way to try to make this better, and not for your sake. Update. 1 month later. After being ripped to shreds on my first post, I didn't plan to ever log in to this account again. Some recent events have persuaded me to update you all on what's been going on. I'll just get right to it. My wife and I are separated currently. I moved out so she and the kids could stay in our home. I'm staying with my parents for now. I don't get to see my kids as often as I would like to. When I have a more stable living situation, we'll have joint custody of them. It's been very hard on me and the kids. I talk to them on the phone every night, and they both keep asking when I'm coming home. It breaks my heart that I can't answer that question. My daughter is taking it the worst. I feel awful that her world had been turned upside down by her own parents. I miss my family. I miss seeing my kids every day. I miss my wife. Our relationship has been put in limbo for now. She says she needs space to process, and doesn't know if she will be able to forgive me. I've apologized in every way that I know how to. At this point, I just have to give her the space she wants and hope she calms down. It would be horrible for us to throw away what we built. If separating has been this hard in the kids, divorce is going to shatter them. She seems open to seeking couples counseling. It gives me some hope we can work past this. As for Reddit, I admit I didn't want to hold myself accountable before. I couldn't see how my actions were subconsciously harmful to my son. It was never my intention to be racist, but I did treat my son differently due to his skin color when you strip it down to its roots. I realized how bad I fucked up when I felt ashamed thinking my wife has probably told her family why we separated. They used to think really highly of me. Now they all probably think I'm a racist. I have no one to blame for that but myself. With all the craziness going on in the world, I know that I need to be more aware of my actions. My kids deserve to have their family to be safe haven from racism. It scares me thinking about the type of world I will send them out into where they could be racially profiled in most places. I can't imagine if it were my son on the news instead of one of those other poor guys. I'll never let anything get in the way of my relationship with him again. Thanks all. New update. 3 years later. It's been over 1.5 years since I used this account. I stopped replying to PMS a long time ago because, to put it bluntly, I felt like shit when I was reminded of what caused me to make this account in the first place, even though most of the PMS I got weren't bad. I was shocked but flattered to see dozens of messages still coming in as recently as a few months ago. I want to give an update on my life for those people. I'm single. My ex-wife and I had our divorce finalized early in 2022. We had gotten back together for almost 1 year after I told her about the paternity test. I made promises to be a better husband, and I believe that I kept those promises even though it didn't work. Unfortunately, things were not the same despite both of our best efforts, including months of counseling, couples counseling, and private counseling for her. The fact of the matter is she could never forgive me enough to trust me, so it was never going to work. Towards the end, she didn't even want to be intimate with me in any way, so much that I slept most nights on the couch or in my kids' rooms. We became roommates. I would have kept trying to fix things forever, but she was willing to face the fact that it was over way before I could. I still have a lot of love for her, and I think I will forever. I'm not ashamed to say I haven't gotten over how devastating it was, even though it's my fault. I developed depression badly, which I know some people would say I deserve. I even had to quit my old job due to it. I still miss her, and even more I miss what we had together. I dread the day that I will hear that she is in a relationship with someone else, because I know it will come someday. I have an apartment to myself now. It took a while for me to get on my feet. My kids, now 8M, almost 6F, spend every other weekend with me, and I get them 50-50 when there are breaks from school. My son is very athletic and is very good at soccer. As he has gotten older, I have seen more of myself in him than I did in his youth. He hasn't heard about the paternity test, and I hope he never will. He's a great kid. I work hard to make up for the time lost when I was anxious to get too close to him. My daughter is still my mini-me. She loves me almost as much as I love her. She's athletic too, loves gymnastics and soccer. I think a lot about how if I hadn't needed a paternity test, they might have another sibling. Not a good thing to dwell on. My life went in a direction I didn't expect. It's not perfect, but it's getting better every day. I have a lot to be grateful for, and I remind myself of that when it is hard. My kids are all that matters. Thanks for caring.